on your video. Yeah, sir. Please on your video. We will.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. So with me, sir, Professor Bhatendu Singh is there. He is now Dean School of Semis, and now he is a professor in the Commerce. I don't know. You recall him or not? Sir Bhatendu sir met you.
If I'll see him on video, certainly.
Yeah. His video is on. His video is on. Bhatendu sir is one of the NAC peer team member during our last NAC visit.
Okay. Yes.
So that time, sir is head of department.
Good morning, Professor Singh. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
So, dear participant, I am very happy and very fortunate. Today morning, we have Professor Manoj Kumar Saxena, a very eminent scholar and professor in Department of Education, Central University of Himachal Pradesh. And sir is also, beside his professorship, department and headship, sir have many other administrative responsibilities. Sir is Dean now, Education Faculty, School of Education, and sir is also director of one of the campus, that is Dhaula campus, and additional director of IQSC and many other cells. Sir is a director, coordinator, and sir is also working many NAC expert committee member as a chairman, as a member, and I feel very happy, sir. Today you are here, and I would like to inform. Last time our NAC grading, sir is one of the peer team member, a very senior professor with a lot of eminent of the scholarly achievement. So, sir, I welcome you in Mizoram University on behalf of the HRDC Mizoram University. I pay my sincere thanks to and feel very happy to welcome you in this sixth faculty induction program. Sir is going to talk about the research tools today, very relevant topic which is used for each and everyone. So with this brief introduction, I welcome you, sir, in our faculty induction program, and handing over the session to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Verma, for introducing me with the learned colleagues and the participants. Good morning, all. The faculty members of UGC HRDC from University, Professor Prabhakar Rath, the advisory chairman, Professor K. Robin, the director, Professor Manoj Verma, the deputy director, Dr. Junun Sangha, the assistant director, and Professor Bhatendu Singh. I am thankful to my friend Professor Manoj Verma, who has invited me to share my views and discuss with the energetic colleagues. Friends, today I am going to discuss about development and standardization of research tools. Since we are from varied fields, so I am from the social sciences background. So I'll try to discuss about discuss about the meaning of research tool, the categories of research tools, questionnaires, guidelines in formulation of items or the question for a questionnaire, suggestions for constructing good multiple choice question. You know that whenever we are going to construct any questionnaire for research purpose, certainly we require some multiple choice questions. And when multiple choice question, I would like to suggest some of the important points how the multiple choice items can be constructed. Then we'll discuss a little bit about item analysis, reliability and validity of the questionnaire, and if the time will permit, we'll carry out some statistical operations to select, reject, or modify the items for any questionnaire. So when we start, we should know what is a research tool. You know that research tools are those instruments by which a researcher collects the meaningful information for his or her research. You know that it is also known as a measurement device for research purpose. The process of developing, testing, and using the device It is known as instrumentation in research. Now we come to the categories of research tool. What type of research tools we are having? You see that research tools fall into two broad categories. One is researcher completed and another one is subject completed. So what researcher completed tools are? Researcher completed tools are those tools which are completed by the researcher. For example, if I am a researcher and I would like to collect the data from my sample, and I wish that I should use the researcher completed tools, then it means that I'll go to the research respondent. I'll put my questions. I'll put my whatever I want to take the information from these respondents. I'll ask them and I'll record those responses. For example, interview schedule, any telesheets or observation schedules. These are the examples for the researcher completed tools. Another tools are comes, that is subject completed tools. Now, what subject completed tools? It is very clear by its name only. Subject completed. Subject means our sample, whatever sample we require, that is subject for us. So subject completed tools are those tools which are completed by the sample itself or the respondent itself. Like if we need the data, we'll ask the respondents to fill up the questionnaire so that we can collect the data, we can gather the data, then we can analyze those things. So it means that whatever the examples for this is questionnaires, attitude scales, personality inventories, etc., etc. These are to be filled up by the subjects. So it is known as subject completed tools. So here it is very pertinent to know how the items or the questionnaires or the questions for a questionnaire be constructed. We discuss about the guidelines for constructing the items, because you know that questionnaire requires some items, or you can say that questions, list of questions construct is like a questionnaire. So what to do to prepare the questions for or the items for the questionnaire? So like you can say that make the questionnaire as valid, as reliable as possible. Because if the questionnaire is reliable, then it means that whatever data you are getting, that is reliable data. And if the questionnaire is valid, means whatever purpose you are constructing the questionnaire, that purpose is solved by the data which you are collecting. So try to make the questionnaire as valid, as reliable as possible.
Sir, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, so actually I think you joined by two devices, one device unmuted.
I don't think that one it is only one device which I am.
But your name is coming, sir. Sir Manoj Kumar.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let me.
Soya. Who Soya? Who Soya? Who Soya? Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
I think, is it okay now?
Sir, you start. Still, it is showing, but no problem. You start, sir.
Still, it is showing two places.
Yeah. But actually, problem is that in that connections, it is not muted. So sometimes some noise is coming when you are taking lecture.
Okay.
But okay, sir, no problem. I will ask from my end. It will be muted.
Do one thing, if you can. I think that if you can remove that.
Yeah. So
one ID,
sir, I
that
am
would be
doing,
better.
sir.
You just
I am
remove one
doing.
ID.
Yeah, I am doing, sir. I am doing. You start, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry, friends, that you would have faced some problem. So I was talking about the guidelines to making the questionnaire, formulation of items or question for questionnaire. So I told you that try to make the questionnaire as valid, as reliable as possible. To do this, some suggestions are being offered here to you people, that make all directions brief, clear, and unequivocal. Means while here there are general directions, there should be a direction for every specific question asked. For example, I'm giving you one example for poor direction for MCQ, multiple choice item. That is, simply you write there, answer the following questions. But you know that it is not being clear how to give the answer. So for this purpose, one better direction would be, for each question, choose the best answer from among those given and put a check mark before your choice. You know that many a times what happens, you have been given four choices.
Yeah, sir, it is okay now.
Now you are getting my voice clearly?
Yeah, your voice is coming.
Okay, fine. So many a times what happens when we the questionnaire is before us to fill up, many a times some people think that it should be a black oval. Some people think that it should be a cross for the right choice. Some people think that it should be a tick mark. So it should be made very clear that how the answer of the question can be given. So better one is, for each question, choose the best answer from among those given and put a check mark before your choice. Another thing, the important suggestion is for use correct grammar. You see that many a times what happens, if you put the comma or full stop at a different place, the entire meaning of the sentence would change. So you must be very particular about the use of correct grammar. So example for, if I'll give you an example for poor grammar, because if you see, the sentence structure is correct, but many a times when you put comma at a different place, it changes the entire meaning of the sentence. One example for poor grammar is, please accomplish the questionnaire as soon as possible, return it. So if we'll put it like this, please accomplish the questionnaire and return it as soon as possible. You see the entire meaning is being changed. Or if you see that, suppose I wish that Professor Verma should not go from this place, he should be stopped, he should be there. So I'll ask one of my colleague, or I'll ask one of my research scholar, stop Professor Verma not to go in, or stop him not to go in. Or if you see in Hindi, roko mat jane do, stop, don't let him go. Another thing is, let him go. If we'll ask in Hindi, roko mat, it means that don't stop, put the mark after the don't stop, let him go. So the entire meaning would be changed. Don't stop, let him go. Stop, let him go. Don't let him go. So the comma must be very, very particular at this position. Means roko mat jane do, roko mat jane do. Entire meaning is different. Entire meaning would be changed. So whenever you write any questionnaire, any question, please be very particular about the grammar of use of correct grammar for that particular sentence. Another important suggestion is, make all questions brief, clear, and unequivocal. Means whatever, if you are going to ask, whatever question you are going to ask, it should be very, very brief, clear, and unequivocal. If I'll ask you, suppose I'm giving you one example, if I'll ask you that what is your income, don't you think that it is a vague question? Reason being, The respondent do not know whether the researcher wants to wants that the respondent should give the response in monthly income or daily income or quarterly income or annual income. So the correct or the better question would be, what is your monthly income, if the researcher intends to know about the monthly income of the respondent. Otherwise, if you will write that what is your income, it is the respondent who will write whatever he thinks better. If suppose if I think that I should write the my daily income, so I would write daily income. But as a researcher, when you need that annual income, it would be difficult for you to calculate each and every respondent's total income for the year. So it would always be better you write what is your monthly income. One more poor question is, are you married or not? What response you expect from the respondent? Because our purpose is to know whether the respondent is married or not. So what should be written? Suppose I have written, are you married or not? And the person is not married. He has written no. So what does it mean? So always better that question must be very brief, clear, and single word, single meaning. So simply you should ask, are you married? If the respondent is married, he would say yes. If the respondent is not married, it would say no. So it should be very, very clear that the question must be brief, clear, and unequivocal. Another point of importance, that avoid asking biased or leading questions. You know that a biased or leading question is one which there is a veiled suggestion for answer. For example, if I'll ask you one question, do you use Colgate toothpaste? If no, what brand do you use? This is a question, right? You see that in this question, there is a veiled suggestion to make Colgate as the answer. And the respondent may think that because Colgate is mentioned, it is the best toothpaste. And so the respondent has tendency, they will say, yes, I use Colgate toothpaste. So you see that if I am not using Colgate toothpaste, even then, because the researcher has asked, do you use Colgate toothpaste? Means that you think that he should say yes. So what would be the better question? The better one would be, what brand of toothpaste do you use? Whatever brand you are using, you will write. And if you are not using, and if you have written that, do you use Colgate toothpaste? Then certainly, and another one is you have joined the question that if no, what brand do you use? So better is always that questions should be very clear, and it should not be biased, or it should not be a leading question. If I give you one example for the leading question, that why do you use Colgate toothpaste? This is a leading question. If there is no preceding question asking what brand of toothpaste the respondent is using, if I'll ask what brand of toothpaste you are using, then it would be a preceding question. It would be a leading question. Why you use this brand? If you see, if the respondent say yes, he is using Colgate toothpaste, the question is good. However, if the respondent answer the question without telling him first that he is using Colgate, that is an admission that he is using Colgate, although actually he is not using. Because you see, you have asked, do you use Colgate toothpaste? And if he is not using, even then he has written that yes, I am using the Colgate toothpaste. Another thing is, important thing is that objectify your responses. See, why objectify your responses? This is to make easier for respondent to make replies and for the standardization of responses for easier tabulation. Like I asked you, why do you use Colgate toothpaste? Instead of requiring the respondent to write his responses. Because if you give the open-ended question, why do you use Colgate toothpaste? Respondent has n number of responses, and it would be difficult for you to tabulate all the responses. So better to give all the possible reasons and let him or her ask to check his or her replies. Like the question was, why do you use Colgate toothpaste? The answer, the responses must be, it sweetens my breath better. It makes my mouth feel fresher. It is cheaper. It is available all the time, last longer. These are the responses. And if you think that these responses, other than these responses, some responses may come. So better you write others, please specify. So you would get a very little number of responses to this category, others, so that you can easily tabulate your respondent's response and you can analyze the data easily. Relate all the questions to the topic under study. All questions must gather relevant to the study. If the study is about the teaching of psychology, all the questions related to something with the teaching of psychology. Otherwise, what will happen? The respondent will lose its interest because that would not be related to their query. That would not be related to even their interest area. So you must write all the questions related to psychology of teaching of psychology. Group the questions or items in a logical sequence. Like questions or items may be grouped according to the specific question asked under statement of the problem. All questions that gather data to answer one specific question should be grouped together. For example, how qualified are the professors handling with the statistics? All questions dealing with their degrees, their majors or their specializations, their units in statistics, special training and seminar, all these should be grouped into one group of the questions. Questions that deal with items that are logically related, those should be grouped together, like questions about demographic characteristics such as age, sex, their civil status, place of birth, native languages, etc., etc. It should be grouped together. And in each grouping, easier questions should be asked first, and relatively their difficulty level should be increased. Important thing is create sufficient number of response categories. See, this is to include the respondent's correct choice. If the correct choice of the respondent is not included among the options, he is required to make a response. His reply would be wrong. Like, suppose I'll ask one question, do you agree that statistics be taught by mathematicians? And I have given two choices to the respondent, that is agree or disagree. And see, if the respondent does not know which is better, that statistics be taught by mathematicians or not. So what he will supposed to give the answer, because you see that he is supposed to give answer whether agree or disagree. And the respondent doesn't know whether the statistics be taught by mathematicians. So what the respondent will give response. Whatever response he will give or she will give, certainly it would wrong, because he doesn't know whether the statistics be taught by mathematicians or not. So in case of this type of situations, so try to give sufficient number of response categories. Like, suppose if it is to be asked that statistics be taught by mathematicians or not, so you give number of responses to them. Better number of responses or options are strongly agree, agree, uncertain or don't know, disagree, and strongly disagree. So if I am, suppose I am not in the position to give the response or correct response to this, so what should be done? I may write that I am not agreed, I am not knowing to the response of this answer. So because there is one category that uncertain. Another thing, if I am a bit confused that statistics and mathematics, these are little bit related to each other. So I may give response, I may give that agree. I'm not 100% sure. So I can put it at agree or at disagree. But if I am having only two responses, then it would be difficult for us. Another thing, word carefully or avoid questions that dealing with confidential or embarrassing information. Suppose a woman respondent has left her husband and you want to know why she left her husband in connection with your study related to family relations. So one of the poor question I am sharing with you, why did you leave your husband? This is the direct question to a lady. And you know that in Indian situation, Indian conditions, no lady would like to reveal that why she has left her husband. Because the causes may be too embarrassing to reveal. And so certainly she would give you distorted reasons, and certainly it would reduce the validity of your questionnaire. What would be the better question? Because no lady would like to reveal those things. So you can ask this question because you want to know why she left her husband. So your purpose is not embarrass to put her in an embarrassing situation. Your intention is not to hurt her. Your intention is to get the responses whatever she give to your questionnaire. So better question is, in your opinion, why do some wives leave their husbands? See, you have asked directly, why did you leave your husband? And just twist the language, just twist the question, simply ask, in your opinion, why do some wives leave their husbands? It means that you are not asking her why you left. You are just asking a simple question, what is your opinion, that why some wives leave their husband? And if you have given all the possible reasons, she may check those reasons that apply to her. Because you know that the question does not specifically or directly refer to her. You just wish to know her opinion. So whatever reasons are related to her, she will put tick mark on those, and you will get the correct response of your question. So better do not put such type of question, do not ask such type of questions which are very confidential in nature, or which will put the respondent into the embarrassing situations. Another point is important point is explain or illustrate difficult questions. See, if some difficult questions are there and some unfamiliar technical terms or some jargons are there, these terms should be clarified or illustrated to avoid any misunderstanding or wrong reply. See, if you have asked some of the question or one question that is not clearly understandable by the respondent, and you are asking him or her to give the response, and you are not with them because this is the questionnaire. You have given the questionnaire to respondent, and he or she may fill this questionnaire when they feel free, then they will fill up. So you will not be there to solve their queries. So better that you should write the questions in brief and clear language, one. And another thing, whatever the difficult terms are there, you should explain those terms in the question itself. Try to state all the questions in affirmative. See, if you are asking one question, are you employed or not? If the respondent is not employed, you can say yes, but this is vague because you are asking, are you employed or not? For not, he is writing yes. So better. So you should ask such type of question that, are you employed? Because since you have written, are you employed or not? So he is giving a response yes for not employed. So better you ask simply, are you employed? This can be answered categorically, either yes or no. So better you ask this type of questions in affirmatives. Important thing, make the respondents anonymous. This is very much important. We all fill questionnaires many a times, and we see that there that it is written. First point is which is the respondent, the researcher required, that is name. Please tell me why name is required. I don't think it is required, because whatever demographical information you need, those informations are there. So why you need that this questionnaire is being filled by Manoj Saxena only? Why not this question is being filled by a teacher of higher education who is working with Central University? So, and he is a male. He is in the age group of 40 to 50. So these are the information are there. Why you need the name? So better if you want that the respondent, you want that respondent should write his name, because I don't think that in research it is needed. The name is needed. So better you write their name. If you don't want to reveal your identity, please do not write. You clearly mention it in the questionnaire. So these are some suggestions to prepare the questions for a questionnaire. And then what you have to do, pre-test the questionnaire after writing it. Whenever you write the questionnaire, you have to have the pre-tryout of this questionnaire, because after pre-tryout, you can be easily aware that what type of problems the respondents are facing. Normally, we use objective type items for questionnaires. So objective types items for questionnaire, you know that mostly we use multiple choice item. Multiple choice item having the 4 parts. Basically, it has 2 parts only. One, that is STEM. Another point is the options. Options contains 2 type of options. That is, one is the key and another one is distractor. STEM is the text of the question. Whatever you are going to ask, that is STEM. Options, the choices provided after the STEM. So 4 choices are given. So in these 4 choices, one is the key. The key means the correct response of your question. That is the key. And the distractors. Distractors are the incorrect answers in the list of options. What you see that the name implies distractor, means it distracts the attention. It means that distractors are very similar to the correct response, but those are not correct. Please mind it. Distractors are very similar to the correct response, but those are not correct. So whenever you go to prepare distractors, it is difficult to write. So I'm giving you some suggestions for constructing good multiple choice items. Like the STEM should clearly state the problem. A good STEM is often clear enough that a competent student can answer the item correctly without seeing the options. And one important thing, the STEM should contain as much as the item as possible, but no more. Like I'm giving you one example of not good STEM. The item is close-ended questions provide primarily, and the options are given: confirmatory data, qualitative data, predictive data, and quantitative data. So you see that everywhere data is redundant. In each option you are writing data. So better it should be like close-ended questions provide primarily blank space data, and the answers must be confirmatory, qualitative, predictive, and quantitative. So then it would you are not required to write every time the data. It is redundantly repeating something in each option. It can be stated in the item. On the other hand, the STEM should not be wordy nor contain irrelevant information. One exception would be a problem presented that requires the students to determine which facts presented are necessary to solve the problems. Always keep in mind that primary goal in writing the response options in multiple choice items is to make it difficult for an uninformed person who is skilled at testing or to figure out the correct answers. You know that knowledge of the construct being evaluated ideally plays the only factor in correctly answering the MCQ. And so there should be 3 or 4 options. These are the best, because you note that it is very, as I told you, the distractors, because you know that what is the correct response. And now you have to write the distractors. So it is always very difficult to write distractors, because these distractors are not correct responses, but very similar to the correct response. So it is advisable that 3 or 4 options should be written there. All options should be parallel in structure and similar in length. The item is more readable, and there will be no obvious clues as to which options may be correct or are obviously incorrect. Suppose if you have been asked that what is the capital of India, you have written Delhi, and then other than Delhi, whatever the cities, if you are having, those cities you have put. Suppose you have put that Bareilly, you have put their Indore, you have put their Baramulla and Delhi. These are the 4 options. So you see that it is very clear that Baramulla, Bareilly, Indore, these are not the capital. So it is obvious that Delhi is the correct response. So it's better to write in the options in proper manner, so that they cannot be odd man out. Suppose you have asked the capital of India, and these 4 options you have given. So it is Delhi is odd man out, that it is only the capital. So others are not. So it's better to write properly. Options must be grammatically consistent with the stem in order to prevent elimination of distractors, as I told you now. And one important thing, the option all of the above is always confusing and should generally be avoided. And the option none of the above should only be used when there is one absolutely correct answer, as in spelling or math. You see that we all are engaged in paper setting. Many a times we are supposed to prepare this MCQs. And when we are facing the problem to give the correct distractor, what we try to write, all of the above, none of the above. Please use very judiciously whenever you are going to write, because all of the above, when you are writing all of the above, either all the answers or all the answers above A, B, C, all should be the correct one, only then you can write the all of the above. And none of the above when you have written, it means that you have to have all the answers which given at A, B, and C. If they are not correct, then your answer is D. Otherwise, if you have given one correct response among those 3, then it means that none of the above is the wrong response. So these should be written, these should be included very carefully. Otherwise, it would certainly dent on your validity of the questionnaire. So these options should not be overlap to each other. One option should not be partial version of the another. So these are some points which we should keep in our mind while we are going to construct any MCQ. Now, next point comes, that is collecting and editing these statements. These are some suggestions how to prepare the items, how to prepare the questions for the questionnaires. Now, the thing is collecting and editing these statements. In this phase, the questions or items are to be collected or framed. The one point comes to the mind, from where the questions or the items will come. Because you know that if you will take the questions, the items from someone else's questionnaire, certainly it would put you in the difficulty. So it is always better to go through the available literature, to go through the available questionnaires, and only then try to prepare the questions at your own. Because whatever studies you have gone through, previously conducted these studies you have gone through, You have seen how the items or the questions have been prepared by the previous researcher. You just go through those and try to prepare the questions. And after preparing the questions, you just take the help of the experts in your field. The relevant items should be included in the questionnaire and the language should be checked at this stage so the respondent may easily understand the questions or the items. Then after that, at this stage, you have to finalize the scoring of the statement. For this purpose of scoring, each correct response should be given 1 mark and wrong response should be given 0. So the sum total of items score will give you total score on the questionnaire. Means the maximum possible score on the whole questionnaire will be number of items multiplied by 1 and minimum possible score would be 0. So you have finalized the scoring, then come to for pre-tryout. Now what pre-tryout is? The collected items, the framed items, the prepared items, you should arrange in a questionnaire format, and this format should be administered on a relatively smaller sample. Means whatever sample you are selecting for your study, because you have to administer the questionnaire on your sample. So this is the very smaller portion of your sample on which you are going to administer this first form of your questionnaire. This form of questionnaire should be consulted with some eminent scholars of the field, and on the basis of the results of this pre-tryout and suggestions from the experts, some items may be modified and some may be deleted from the first format of your questionnaire. How it is? Because if you see that you have administered the questionnaire on a smaller sample size, you will be direct contacting with the respondents. You can ask them what type of difficulties they are facing in filling up the questionnaire. First, you just give them the questionnaire, what first draft of their questionnaire. They will just go through, they will just fill it up, and then you will ask them if they are facing any problem, any question which is not understandable to them. Those type of question you should write with you, and then take the suggestions from experts and then try to modify those items, or you just try to eliminate those items from this form. These items may be removed and modified with the viewpoint of sentence formation and skipping from ambiguity in items, so that the respondent can easily understand the items without any difficulty. After this tryout, some points should be taken care of. Like, you have to ask those questions with yourself only as a researcher, because while pre-tryout, you were there, you have seen what type of problems or the respondents have seen. Now you have to ask the question with you. Are the directions, statements, questions or items clear and unequivocal? Are they brief but unambiguous? Because it is very important. The question should be, as I told you earlier, that question should be brief and unequivocal. So you should ask here. Another point of concern is, you ask yourself, do the questions or items gather intended data? Are the responses those called for? So you must ask with you, are there sufficient number of possible responses or choices for multiple choice and multiple questions? All the possible replies to a question included? It is to be asked to yourself only. Are all the data to be gathered relevant to the topic of the study? Many times what happens when we go to construct the questionnaire, many items are there. Those are not directly related to your study, but at that time you think that these should be included. But when the pre-tryout is conducted, so you have seen whether these items, the data which we are trying to gather, is relevant to the topic of your study. Is the questionnaire organized in its proper formats, or are the items grouped logically? Is answering the question Is he enough? Are the replies so objectified that replies are only in the form of check marks, letters, numbers, or short words or phrases? What difficulties have been encountered in filling of the questionnaire by the respondents? Are all questions or items worded carefully so as to avoid embarrassment or indictment? Are they in correct grammar? Another important point, is the questionnaire free from all kind of biases? And importantly, are the respondents anonymous? Are the data to be gathered by the questionnaire sufficient and adequate enough to complete the study and to make the conclusion and other generalizations valid and tenable? Very important point which I am going to share, that is the questionnaire too long that it becomes boring to finish filling it up? Now, it is certainly there is no such rule that how long the questionnaire would be. It depends entirely on the nature of a study, and it would depend entirely upon the researcher how many questions he require to gather the desired data. I'm just giving you one example. I have conducted one study in 2014. Rather, it was in 2013 and submitted in 14. Report is submitted in 14. The study was conducted in all the 28 states of the country. And I was, I was looking after the Himachal Pradesh part for the ST population. It was a very, very big study. It's funded by ICSSR. So in this study, we require very large data from the respondents. And you would be surprised to know the questionnaires contain 200 plus items. Now one can say that certainly it is very difficult to fill all the 200 questions. And the respondents may tick without any understanding, without seeing the question itself. But friends, there is that the questionnaire was mixed type of questionnaire. There are MCQs as well as there is the short answer time. They have to write their what they think over that. So the thing is 200 questions. It's very difficult because you see that 200 questions, if you go through and give the responses properly, certainly it would take almost 2 to 3 hours to fill it up. And when I asked the project director, he was a civil servant, first information commissioner of Uttarakhand and first chief secretary of Uttarakhand. He was the project director. When I asked him, sir, it would be very difficult that I'll ask the respondent to spare 2 or 3 hours. Because you know that study needs that type of information. So we have selected the research assistant from the that particular tribal belt, because they are familiar with those people. And I personally visited those areas and I personally met with the respondents and requested them that whenever time you find free, you just give time to our research assistant. He would come to you and he'll give you the questionnaire and you have to fill it up. And we are having at that time four questionnaires. So you see that it is up to the researcher, it is up to the nature of the research, how long the questionnaire would be. So it depends upon the researcher how he can take the responses from its respondents. And during this period, when you are introspecting, when you are asking the question with yourself, you ask yourself that if some questions are not answered, why are they not answered? What's the problem with them? Are the spaces for writing the replies adequate and properly placed? What suggestions can you give to improve the questionnaire? What items should be eliminated, added, or clarified? These should be asked yourself and incorporate all these responses, whatever you think, whatever your experts told you, whatever the respondent told you as far as the pre-tryout is concerned. Then update the questionnaire, then modify the questionnaire, and now after pre-tryout, do all these things, then go for actual tryout. Now, what actual tryout is? To find out the items for final questionnaire, your draft form of questionnaire will contain lesser number of items because of modifications and deletion of the items from the first draft of questionnaire. Now, the modified form of questionnaire should be administered on relatively larger number of respondents. Earlier, what you did, a very small part of the sample. Now, you have to bit bigger sample size. And please keep it in your mind, whosoever is participated in the pre-tryout of your questionnaire, the actual tryout of your questionnaire, those should not be included in main sample on which you have to conduct your, the study. On those people, you have to administer the questionnaire. So now the modified questionnaire form, it is to be administered on relatively larger number of respondents, and these respondents again to be chosen on the basis of randomization. The responses are to be collected and scoring will be made for each individual person separately. Now a technical term comes, that is item analysis. Once the writing and editing of items are complete, then the process of item analysis starts. This is a such type of technique through which a valid and purposeful items are included in the questionnaire. The items which are not according to the purpose of the test or purpose of the questionnaire are invalid. That should be discarded at this junction during the item analysis. In brief, you can say that the item analysis indicates how effectively a specific item fulfill the function in the whole test. In a narrower sense, the term item analysis will be used specifically for a measurement of how effectively each individual item contributes to the overall validity of the questionnaire. You see that in item analysis, two technical characteristics of items, that is discriminating power and difficulty values. These are to be calculated. So what discriminating power is? Now the thing, discriminating power, as you see that discriminating power, as the name implies, to discriminate. This is also known as item validity. Item validity shows that an item up to which extent discriminates between outstanding and the poor respondents. So this is the discriminating power. Another one is difficulty value. Means how much an item is difficult as far as respondents are concerned. So these two important characteristics of any item, that is discriminating power and difficulty values, by which we can do the item analysis. Now, what are the different steps of item analysis? So the different steps are: administer the test on a larger representative sample. Evaluate all the textbook, all the questionnaires or all the booklets of answer sheets of each and individual of the sample and mark the total marks on that booklet or the answer sheet. Again, I am saying administer the test on a larger representative sample. Evaluate this questionnaire of each and individual of the sample, means each and individual of the respondent, and mark the total marks on that answer sheet or the booklet. arrange all these these booklets or answer sheet in ascending order or descending order, which suits to you. Then construct two groups. One is high group and another one is low group of these answer sheets or the booklets. This high group contains 27% of the students or the 27% of the respondents of higher marks, and lower group will contain 27% of the lower marks. Now, number of the respondents in both the groups will be equal and the number will be denoted by n. What we have to do? Now we have to calculate number of right responses for each item in higher group. Suppose your questionnaire is having 20 items. You have to make the marks for each and every response for each and every respondent. Item number 1, right response. How many right response are there in the higher group? Those 27% are higher scorers. So you write one at one place. And similarly, for the lower group, you have to write the calculate the number of right responses for each item in the lower group. Now, for each item, now what we have to do? We have to calculate difficulty value. Now, what will be the difficulty value? Difficulty value, you have to have the for each item, you have to add a right response. I am talking about item number 1. You have to add right response in higher group and right response into lower group, or divide these total of RH and RL by 2n and multiply it to 100 for converting it into the percentage. Should I show you on after writing? Just give me a minute. I'm just trying to share my screen to show you how the difficulty value can be calculated. Just give me a minute. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah. So this is difficulty value. You see here, RH means this RH. RH means right response in higher group. I am talking about question number 1. Right response in a higher group, and RL, right response in lower group, divided by 2n. N means the number of respondents in each group. And it is to be multiplied by 100. And again, whenever you calculate all these, it would be subtracted from 100. So you might be seeing that how it would be calculated. So for each item, you have calculated this difficulty value, how to calculate difficulty value, and it would give you the difficulty value for item number 1. Similarly, for all the items, if time will permit, I'll give you we'll calculate this item analysis also. And another point comes, that is discriminating power. What discriminating power is? It is, I'll just show you discriminating power. It is very simple. You see here. Is it visible? Discriminating power?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this RH, I'm talking about item number 1. RH. RH means right response in higher group, right response in lower group, and that is divided by N. So it would give you the discriminating power for any item. So through this, you can see that quite clear that difficulty value is shown in percentage, whereas discriminating power is shown in decimal points. Higher difficulty value shows that the question is more difficult, and higher discriminating power of the question, it shows that it discriminates the students effectively. Normally, we select the items which have the difficulty value between 40% to 60%. Please mind it. The difficulty value of the items which are between 40% to 60%, those items would be selected in the questionnaire. And normally, the items which are having 0.5 and above discriminating power, they seems to be good. They would be selected. But the items having 0.3 dp may be included in the questionnaire, but these items should be made modified. Therefore, on this ground, some items may be modified and some may be deleted. So I'm giving you, showing you one example, and if you are willing, you just calculate 2-3 discriminating power and difficulty values. I'm just sharing my screen where the question is given. Just see to it. You must be seeing right response in higher group, that is 44. Right response in lower group, that is 18. Now you have to calculate at your own the difficulty value and discriminating power this item, and you have to give your judgment whether it should be included, excluded, or modified. Please calculate this. The formulas are being given to you. You just please calculate it. I request you all.
One participant.
Hello.
Sir, one participant asking what is N?
I told that N is number of items. And suppose, yeah, right. I have to say that N is just a minute. This questionnaire is administered on 200 students. Is it clear? The questionnaire is administered on 200 respondents. Now you have to decide what will be the N for this complete procedure. And I request you all, please note down first 5 items, RH and RL, for first 5 items, so that I just remove this from sharing. You have written all these first 5 items. So minus RH. RH कितना है? 44 plus 30. I hope by this time you must have completed all the 5.
Sir, in chat box, they are replying, they completed.
Oh, that's great. But it's very few.
Yeah.
So can I ask Mr. Sanjeev? Mr. Sanjeev. Sanasam Sanjeev.
Sir, all the participants, they are in webinar mode. Directly, they cannot answer. No,
Okay.
they can only interact with chat box.
Okay. Right. They cannot respond. Fine. So
yeah. Actually, sir, no, when we start their interaction, no, many time a lot of disturbance in the
yeah,
middle
I
of the
know.
lecture, some noise is coming
I know.
and many disturbance.
Yeah, I know. So okay. Let me write, Mr. Sanjeev.
So that's why we.
Please tell me the D for item number 1. So friends, on the basis of this item analysis, we are in the position to select or reject or modify some items. And then we go for reliability of a questionnaire. There are a number of methods to calculate reliability. And after that, we have to calculate the validity of the questionnaire. There are so many methods to check the validity of the questionnaire. And we should also try to find out the factors those are affecting the reliability, like test length, test homogeneity, discriminating power, difficulty value, objectivity. These are some points which affects the reliability of the any questionnaire. And validity, there are so many types of validity to calculate. And after that, we must know the factors that affect the validity, like unclear instructions, medium of expression, language and vocabulary of items, difficulty level of items. These are also objectivity. These are, and then after calculating reliability, validity, and dynamic analysis, you have to have the final draft of the questionnaire. And the final draft of the questionnaire is ready. And you have to distribute the items dimension wise. And this is all about how to construct a questionnaire for data collection and how the data analysis can be performed to select, reject, or modify any item in the research tool, and how the reliability and validity of the questionnaire can be ascertained. So now I conclude with the hope that by now you find yourself that you are able to construct and analyze the items, estimate the reliability and validity and of the questionnaire at your own. And at the end, I appreciate your patience to listen to me carefully. And my details, right, like question, like where are my email ID and mobile number is with Professor Manoj. If you need any help for constructing your questionnaire, I would be happy to assist, or I would be happy to help you out in this questionnaire construction. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Sir.
So thank you, Professor Manoj.
Yeah, sir. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
Actually, be in middle 1 minute before, sir, I lost my connections, internet connection. That's why I thought. So, respected sir, Professor Manoj Saxena, sir, thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time, having a lot of administrative responsibility. You are very busy, your schedule is very tight, but because of your love and affection towards MzU University and towards me, you accepted our invitation and ready to deliver your lecture, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. My office will contact you, HRDC office. Within 1 week, they will contact you for the office.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So, dear participant, now this is your lunch break. After lunch break, 1:30, again we will meet for the next session. Okay. So after lunch, we will meet. Okay.